Welcome back. The panel is here. And when I say here, I mean here. Look, studio with us. First time in more than a year. And better yet, this is our new studio. It's the first time we've had anybody in this new studio. Washington Post White House Bureau Chief Ashley Parker, Democratic pollster Cornell Belcher, Republican strategist Brad Todd, and PBS NewsHour Chief Correspondent Amna Nawaz. By the way, both Brad and I, his middle name is no relation on that front. Ashley, when you read the tea leaves of Sanders and Portman, right, it looks close. This seems close. You're the White House Bureau Chief, okay? It's all about President Biden at this point. I think he wants this deal. Is he going to get it?
He does want this deal, and especially when you talk to Republicans on the Hill, they think that he wants this deal even more than some of his staff. That's why in these moments where it starts to fall apart, you see these Republican senators, much to the chagrin of their staffs, unable to blame President Biden, right? They think he wants to get to yes, his staff is pulling him back. I think we'll see. This is a different animal than the COVID rescue plan, which he just felt tremendous urgency to do. And first we should say he does define that as bipartisan, even though it got no Republican votes. But he was just going to push this through. And when you talk to his team, this is something where they are proceeded to go it alone, but they do really want that bipartisan buy-in.
And Amna, I think what we're all trying to figure out on the progressive side of things is how much patience do they have? And you know, is this about, would they really kill a deal that President Biden endorsed?
Yeah, and what you've seen from progressives early, I mean, to Ashley's point, I think this next bill is so different from previous ones coming back from that foreign trip. This is the real test now. How can President Biden move forward with that promise of bipartisanship, which he campaigned on, right? He said, I can do this. I have the relationships from my time in the Senate to pull this off. You saw progressives say, you know, those first 100 days were actually exceeded expectations with what we expected from this Biden administration. Now there's starting to be some fraying around the edges there, and you're seeing much more of that consternation and frustration growing. This is kind of an issue of just competing ambitions for Biden, though, right? Because he wants to be this president who comes out with the big, bold plans to move America through this time of great turmoil and uncertainty and coming off a global pandemic. At the same time, he has to get things done. So he's at some point going to have to make a choice.
Cornell and Brad, let's do this, sort of the political calculations. Cornell, first to you. Do Democrats need to, does Biden need to have a small bipartisan deal to succeed? Or does he need something big with Democrats, but risk it maybe not happening for an entire calendar year?
The answer is either, right? I think you take either and then you sell it. Look, the Americans are always talking about they want bipartisanship. They want bipartisanship. You hear it all the time. We also know there's a legislative grim reaper by the name of Mitch McConnell, who's 100% against the Biden agenda. So any ideal that look, and Mitt Romney says, like, let's be open to the conversation. Manchin is saying, well, you know, praising the Senate leader for giving bipartisanship a chance. I think the optics of it, look, sausage making is ugly, but the optics of it, right? They're giving bipartisanship a chance. They're trying, and in the end, if they do get a bipartisan bill, I think it'd be quite frankly politically good for both sides because infrastructure is something that Republicans and Democrats and Independents all want.
You know, Brad, I had a Republican staffer admit that the fact that the Republican base is more worried about critical race theory gives them room to do this deal. That there isn't same. If you think about what happened during Obamacare, the whole world of the Republican base.
Republicans can support an infrastructure deal if it's concrete, water, and fiber. Broadband roads, but it can't be a Trojan horse for Bernie Sanders' wildest fantasies. And so you have to have a deal that Bernie Sanders will vote against to get a significant number of Republicans. And I think that's what the White House has to decide. Is it willing to lose 15 Democrats in order to get a deal that includes 20 Republicans?
But let me ask you this. I had somebody say, if you don't like the $6 trillion deal, is it better to pass something or let the Democrats go it alone?
I think it's incredibly risky for Democrats to run everything for 2 years on party line votes. That's a recipe for Republicans to take both chambers of Congress. And I think the fact that you hear so many progressives act as if Democrats have 70 senators and not 50 tells you exactly the tug that this White House is going to feel.
I don't think that if there's a bipartisanship bill, the progressives are going to kill it. progressives are not going to die.
Sanders didn't sound like he was going to kill it.
No, he's not going to kill it.
He talked about what he liked.
Right, and that's politics. You're supposed to say, I want this, and you hold out until you try to get it. So I don't think that the progressives are going to kill this bill, but I also think at the same time it's going to be hard for Republicans to run in the next fall midterm election with the idea that we tried to block everything that Biden tried to do.
And I would also add, I think bipartisanship is incredibly important. As you said, Democrats don't want to do everything, go it alone. But if you talk to some of the Biden people, results are equally as important. And you hear them often say they learned the lessons of the Obama years. And they point to the 2009 bailout package and say, who remembers the 3 Republicans who voted for it and made it fine? You maybe remember, Chuck, but nobody else does. And they look at the COVID relief bill and they say there were no Republican votes, but it was checks in pockets, shots in arms, and that's what matters. So that is always in the back of their minds when they're deciding what to do.
Can we also say that we saw some movement on Mitch McConnell? I'm not sure this counts or not, but to say bipartisanship is dead after the talks between Shelley Moore Capito and President Biden broke down, and then to come back a few days later and say 50-50 chance, like maybe that's progress.
Hey, let me ask a real cynical question for both Cornell and Brad. Had Stacey Abrams attacked Manchin's compromise, is Mitch McConnell more open to it? Cornell, Brad?
You should have went to Brad first.
All right, Brad. I mean, Woody, I thought it was fascinating that because Stacey Abrams endorsed it, it was like, well, we can't touch it now.
I think that's the wrong question. I think Stacey Abrams endorsed it with the intent to kill it. She knows that she has to that it has to die in order for her to get what she wants with S1 through Democrats on a party line.
I'm cynical. I'm not that cynical. I think she is a good faith. Is that because quite frankly, most of the things in that bill are common sense. And you talked about it. So these are hard things for Republicans to reject, like redistricting. And the senator went on and talked about this takes away the rights of Ohioans. No, even 57% of Republicans want sort of redistricting to be taken away from this partisan games that we play. And look, you and I make our livings from this. The gerrymandering has to stop. We're not even having fair federal elections anymore because incumbents keep winning because we keep gerrymandering their districts.
Hey, I do want to circle the Bernie Sanders non-answer on Stephen Breyer. He wanted no part of that.
That was a short and direct,
said a lot,
succinct answer. Yes,
yeah, it did.
Said a lot without saying a lot.
That's what I thought too. All right, God. It was weird. Conversation, exchanges. I don't know what to do. Anyway, as we go to break, I want to remind you all, by the way, that this season's episodes of Meet the Press Reports are available anytime on Peacock, binge away. Check out our recent shows on extremism, athlete activism, millennial politics, much more. And our final episode is a really good one. It looks at whether the U.S. military is ready for the next war, which could start either in space or cyber. Up next, there were celebrations across the country yesterday marking Juneteenth, which is now a federal holiday. When we come back, how the belated recognition of Juneteenth may tell us as much about our future as it does about our past. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.